Okay, this is going to be relatively quick, all things considered. So this is a tutorial on how to out CTC bones and how to weight simple weight schemes for those physics bones. In the first place, you're going to want to copy. You're gonna want to create the skeleton for the CTC bones, and you can do that by just copying pre-existing bones and placing them around. I'm going to for CTC chains, you'll want them to be lined up normally. You want a straight line between them, no rotations, just translations. And even if it doesn't quite follow the curve, you should just worry about trying to keep them in normally straight lines. You can force the curve through CTC editing, and most of the time you don't really need to. Normally you add one more bone than you need, so that this one is the guide and everything else moves. This one is going to be a fixed bone, which means that it's only going to be rotating around. It will not dangle per se. If you make two ends of a chain fixed, you get a catenary. This would hang like to the side. Well, depends on gravity. Anyway, after you've created the bones, you want to fix the properties on them, and the thing is, this bone function here is what determines what the bone does and how you will access it when you are using CTCs. So in this case, because this is a weapon and I roughly know where those values are, I'm going to start with 50. For armors, you normally start with 151 and 150, and it really depends on what you're working with, but ranges are somewhat consistently. Like for weapons, you can normally use a range between 50 and 50 and exactly 100. 100 is already within the things that are driven by hard animations. So 54, 55. They don't have to be consecutive, it's just that it makes your life easier. Now you want to give them the proper parenting, which we do with Control P. You click, shift click, and you get the bones connected. And then comes weighting. So in here it's they already bone 10, bone 9, 8, those are the names in Blender. So right now it's not weighted to anything. It's normally recommended that you use this show zero weight, so that you know when something has very low weights and when something is not weighted at all. So we're going to go into edit mode, and we're going to assign all of the bones with weight 1 to bone 9. So it's going to go red. And what we're going to start doing is drawing gradients through Blender's weight gradient tool. So everything right now is weighted to bone 9, so we're going to go to bone 8 and do a weight gradient that starts on the next bone, which would be bone 8. I'm going to start a bit before that so that it's somewhat more soft, and I'm going to end a bit after that so it's also soft. Then you run normalize all, lock active, and now bone 9 looks like this and bone 8 looks like this. So you're going to be doing this for every single bone. You get 7. We normalize, and after normalizing, 8 looks like this. You want to avoid bands of red, so I might go over this later and just start softening this so that it's more evenly spread. But in general, the procedure is not that different. You're just going to be doing this, and then finally weight 5 is weight 5 is the one that should actually be red there. So normalize all. Yep, and that's pretty much how the bones should look. So then what you want to do is go to import CTC, and well, you'll probably want any sort of CTC at all. I'm going to be robbing one that I already have from GOT. So I'm just going to grab any CTC and see what it does. And in this case we have a one chain CTC, which is kind of what I needed. This should work. And I'm gonna go into the first frame. They're already working. So you'll normally need to realign the chains, which is CTC tools, realign chain with targets. So this CTC is a bit shorter than I would need it to be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a node. I'm gonna copy I'm gonna select this, select hierarchy. Oh, there's one more node, this one here. And okay, this is the one I want to copy, the last one. So I'm just gonna copy, paste, and then this Why? Okay, so here is the CTC note. It didn't come with a frame, which is annoying. So I need to copy both of this. Okay, now it's with his frame, and I'm gonna just do that and parent it. And then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to select the bone function that I want to be attached to, which is going to be bone 10. And again, I have to realign chains with target, and what the hell? This should be bone 10, yeah. Same for the frame. And then I'm going to be copying the properties from the previous bone end into this one, so it doesn't finish too early. And realign. Okay, it's not realigning, it might require a reset anyway. So you can edit the CTC properties from here. There's a ton of unknowns, which are a pity. Normally you'll be doing things here on the top of the chain. You'll be working with snapping and tension are the usual suspects. Wind multiplier when you want wind to affect it, -1 means it doesn't affect it. Weightiness is a property that you normally don't touch. Statyk recommends 7, I prefer 39 just because of what I work with. 39 tends to work better for mechanical parts, while 7 tends to work better for biological parts like breasts. That pretty much should be all of it. Like, this note is actually attached to this bone, since this is bone 10. It's just that it's not currently displaying like that just because I've done this through somewhat rudimentary means. And that's pretty much all of it. You've got this, the strap weighted, you have the skeleton. This bone has to be parented to something on the armature. For weapons, you normally want to parent it to the bone that has bone function 100, because bone function 100 is the one that moves around when the player hip turns. So we do this, and yeah, that should be it. Sorry, no, it's not gonna. So then I'm gonna go and export the CTC. And then you also export the model. And there's an error, which is expected. Warning, vertex worth to 4 weights and the block label is wrong. So the reason for this is that if we go in here, you'll notice that some sections have more than 4 vertices weighted to them. It's probably going to be around here. Normally this is a problem section, but anyway, the fix is really quick. You just go into weight mode, tools, limit total. You limit the total to you prefer to normally limit it to 3 so it doesn't raise warnings, but 4 should work as well. So you limit it to 4 and then you normalize all without locking the active. And it's not really going to be visible. It's mainly going to be here, which you can see that there's this sort of weird banding that occurred because of the limit. But it will still look fine in game, and then you export the motor in. And it will give me a warning for weights on a single vertex, which is fine because they are normalized. If your weights are normalized and you're not working with cursed stuff, that should be enough. You might have to limit to 3 if you have issues in game before doing more debugging, because the game sometimes does weird things with negative weights in the last slot, and the last slot in this case is slot 4. Anyway, that should be pretty much it.